All right. In this video, we are going to do our last part of this whole Simon Says series by finally now making or trying to recreate or replicate the original Simon Says game, right? The one that you can go to Target, Walmart, wherever right now, go and buy, throw some batteries in it, and have some fun. So, right, let's think about what we've done so far and maybe what are the differences between what we've made in the original Simon Says game, right? So our first one only had 10 levels. Simon Says game goes infinitely with a high score, so we went and we changed our game to do that. Now we have these 10 lights on the circuit playground where Simon Says only had 4, right? So that seems like it might be easier because instead of having to worry about 10, we only have to worry about 4. And then the last thing is, though, that's going to be probably pretty difficult is we aren't going to light up a light like we have here, where we can go around the circuit playground by pressing the A and B button, right? Instead, the lights on the Simon Says game, you press them. So there are 4 buttons on the actual Simon Says game as opposed to these 3 where I have A to go that way, B to go this way, and then pressing A and B at the same time to make a selection. All right. So we won't need a light indicator to show us where we are anymore. We're just going to go ahead and press a button. Now, how do we get 4 buttons where there's only 2 on the circuit playground? Well, these little gold pins here can actually be pressed on a real circuit playground. These are what's called capacitive touch. Just means that they can sense the difference in conductivity between like the air when you're not touching it and your finger, your skin when you are touching it. And of course, here with the emulator, it just knows that the mouse has clicked it, right? So very simple. So I went and copied what I wrote on Canvas, my online assignment page for what we should do here. That way we don't have to type all this up while we're doing the video. So like we said, random nums shouldn't just be getting random numbers all the way from 0 to 9 anymore. We're only do 0 to 3 for 4 numbers. Simon Lights and Simon Sounds don't need 9 colors and 9 sounds in it anymore, or 10 colors or 10 sounds, sorry. We only need 4 again. We just said this, right? The inputs can't be A and B anymore. We're going to use touch A1, touch A3, touch A4, and touch A6. We could light up series of lights. Like if we go over to Google and we do, Simon game, and we just look at some images, we could see the Simon game and what it looks like, right? So it breaks the circle up into these quadrants that you can see here, where the Simon lights, it's okay if we only light up 1. We could light up a series of them. That's totally possible, but I don't think it's completely necessary, and it will add a little bit of complication that we don't need to worry about for right now. So if we just use light 1, which is this one here, let me break out my pen for this, right? Light 1 for yellow, or actually what I'm going to do is red, because I think I did red, yellow. I have it written here, actually. Red, yellow, blue, green. Yeah, so ignore what this is. It's going to be slightly different, but it'll be red, yellow, blue, which is a 6, and then 8 be green, just like that. Now, if you want to try to take it to the next level, you could do 8 and 9 for green, 1 and 2, 0 and 1 for red, 3 and 4 for yellow, and 5 and 6 for blue. That would be pretty cool if you were able to get that to work. I'm not going to show that in this video, but like I said, if you're ready to take things to the next level, that might be something that you would think about doing. All right. Like Simon 3, this one should never end. Should get just keep going forever until we make a mistake. We don't even have to worry about that because we're going to start with the code that does that already. So we don't even need that. We're going to go ahead and delete the move player function and the A and B inputs. We don't need to do that anymore. And the big implication from this, right, is that we now can't check if the player is right using player position, right? A big part of how this game works is this code right here. If player position is equal to rand nums get value at score, then we've successfully gotten that correct number in the sequence, and that's how we flow through this entire program. We can't do that anymore. Player position isn't going to exist because we're not going to move the white light around. So we have to think about how instead are we going to check that we're right. And that's going to be probably the most difficult thing that we're going to have to code out here. So let's do the easy stuff first. As you all know, we are programmers and programmers are lazy. So let's go ahead and just delete the things that we don't need anymore. So we said that we don't need the A button and we don't need the B button. We don't need the A, B, but there's a lot of code in here that we're going to reuse. So we're actually going to keep that for now. Don't delete that just yet. We don't need the move player function. Goodbye. Objective we need, add rand num we need, reset looks fine. We don't need the set player position in there anymore though. Oh, I left the win-lose in the reset from the last video. We didn't need that either. All right, rand nums we need. Simon colors can now go down to only 4 colors in that array. And the most beautiful thing about this is we don't need to use these numbers that stand in for colors. We could actually make this much more readable now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, that is correct. In light, there's some pre-built variables in this program for colors. So we could just use those. So now we could do, like I had said before, red, yellow, green, and blue. And actually, what we could even do is we could recreate the Simon Says wheel here, which, oh, you know what? Is that what I wrote here? Yellow, red, green, blue? Yellow, red, green, blue. Of course it is. So let's do that. Yellow, red, green, blue. Let's do that. Yellow, red, green, blue, which means, of course, I'm going to have to change this on here. Let's try that. Erase that. There we go. And now this is yellow. And this is red. Beautiful. Okay. Now that that's fixed, we're definitely going to have to come back to this chalkboard a little later when we talk about how we're going to be referencing our arrays now. That was just a little, I guess that was a little preview of that since I had to change that so it'll make sense later. Okay. We're going to also trim down Simon Sounds so that it only has 4 things. And we'll delete all of these numbers that stand in for the sounds. I have to zoom in to grab this last one. Gotcha. There are not pre-built variables for, like I can't put C, D, E, F there because there aren't pre-built variables for the keys on the piano, but that's okay. That's totally fine. No problems there. Levels is good. Score is good. Delay is fine. Player position. We do not need that. Player position is gone. In our forever loop, we don't need to light up our player position as white anymore because there is no player position. Same thing for in here. We don't need that one anymore. We're going to keep these in here because we're going to want to see how they're different as we go forward. Just looking for anything else that needs to go. I think we're good. Okay. So now let's just see how that affected the program. I mean, obviously we can't move anymore, so we can only see the first level, but let's look and turn on our sound, and let's just watch this. All right, so I don't know if you could tell, but sometimes when I refresh, it doesn't play anything because it's trying to get random numbers from off of the array past 4. But when it is 0 through 3, right, those first four, we play the right colors and the right sounds. But we're clearly adding to random nums with too many numbers because we're going 0 to 9 when what we need to do is only 0 to 3. All right, so we did. Let me mute that so it's not playing over me. So we did a lot there. It was all really easy, but we actually did a lot of things here, right? We are now only getting 0 to 3. We have the right amount of lights and sounds, which is good. We deleted move player. So now we need to worry about our inputs, and well, now every time we refresh, we should get the right colors now. So let's see. And every time we refresh, we get a color and we get a sound instead of sometimes getting nothing, which is good. And that was because we did 0 to 3. So now what we need to do though, is we're going to need a new array here because we don't want these to just stick in these 4 spots, right? The reason why we didn't need an array before was because we were relying on the fact that we had 10 different pixels that could show up, and those were the pixels that were on the circuit playground. And if there were only 4 on here, then that would work too, because 0 would be, you know, the first quadrant that we needed, 1 would be the next one, 2 would be the next one, and 3 would be the last one. But we don't have that anymore. So now, if we just follow the same design that we had before, our 4 lights are going to be crammed into only these 4 areas here. But we want to spread them out so that it's a little bit more like the actual handheld game. So we're going to need a new array that translates our random nums, which will only go from 0 to 3, into the pixels that should actually be lighting up, right? So we're going to create a new array by setting, oh, there's a hidden, anything else in there? Yes, there is. There we go. So we're going to create a new array that's going to be translating the 0 to 1, the 0 to 3 to the actual pixels that we want to light up. So our new variable, let's call this one Simon Pixels, because these are the pixel positions. These are the pixel positions that we actually want to use, because random nums is only going to have 0 to 3 in it. But what we wanted, 1, 2, 3, 4, duplicate. All right. So what we wanted was 1, 3, 6, and 8 in here. 1, 3, 6, and 8. And let me update my chalkboard now, because we have Simon Light, Simon Sounds. Now we have Simon Pixels. Try to use good handwriting. My handwriting is awful, so I really try. Yeah, it's embarrassing that this is me really trying, but it is. So, oops. Pixels, Pixels. My spelling is bad too, so I always have to worry about whether or not I spelled that correctly. Okay, which is going to be 1, 3, 6, and 8. And I hope we're already noticing, if we've been following along with these videos and really trying to understand, you know, what we're doing here, I hope we're already seeing, you know, a possible bump in the road, a possible hurdle that we're going to have to cross, but one that we've crossed already, right? And so what do I mean by that? Random nums is sorted. Well, it's not sorted. Sorry. Random nums is going to have random numbers in it. These just happen to be in order because, the explanation will be easier. But we're going to have a random numbers in here, but they also don't match up really with anything, right? They match up with the indexes of these, right? So if random nums gets a 1, we're going to want to light up a red light. The color should be red. The sound should be a D on the piano, and the pixel that will light up, the actual pixel position, will be 3. But remember that 1 could be here, but it could be here because it's going to be random. It could also be here. It could also be, because we're infinite now, it could also be way down over here. So, in the future, in a couple more minutes, we're going to see the same problem that we had over up here. And that's something that I want us to think about now as we get ready to code that. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and see if there's anything else that we have to do now that I created these arrays. I think we're all right. All right, so now let's talk about that. I thought that this might be a little bit later, but it's actually going to come up right now. So in the objective function, we're lighting up the pixel color at randnums get value at index. Remember that this first half of the pixel color at is which pixel we're lighting up. So here, if I change this to 4, it's always going to be the fourth one. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so it's different colors, and it might even be playing different sounds right now. Let's unmute this. But it's always lighting up that one, which is not the one that would be correct for the game, right? It's just the one that's lighting up at this moment because I made this as a 4. But obviously, we're going to have some variable in there so that it can change spots. What it should be is the 1, 3, and the 6 and the 8, depending on the colors, right? Meaning 1 for yellow, 3 for red, 6 for green, and 8 for blue. 1, 3, 6, and 8. So what array has 1, 3, 6, and 8 in it? Right? That's our Simon Pixels array. So when randnums gets a 1, we want to light up the 3. We want to make it red and play the Simon Sounds D from Simon Sounds. So we have ran into this exact issue before. That is to say that we have said that from the Simon Pixel array, we want to get value at, right? Where do we want to get value at? Not 1, not just 0 all the time. Because we don't want it to just be 1. We want it to be 1, 3, 6, or 8. And where do we get 1, 3, 6, or 8 from? In this case, as far as objective is concerned, right, we're going to get that from index. Just like we did with the right side. Because before we needed that to get the right color. We didn't need it on the left side. We only needed index because it followed along. Each pixel happened to follow along with index because there were 9 of them. So now every time I refresh this, if it's yellow, it should be there. If it's red, it should be here. If it is green, it should be there. Yes. And if it's blue, it should be there. Let's see if that's right. All right. It's not, I actually made a mistake here because it's not index that we're doing this from, right? It's going to be, it's actually going to be, well, what goes up as we play, right? I'm sorry, not what goes up as we play. Simon Pixels needs to talk to the array that has the indexes in it from what we want, right? So if it's 0, it lights up that one. And if it's 1, it lights up that one. If it's 2, it lights up that one. So obviously we're talking about rand nums here. So sorry about that. That last wrong description that I was just saying. It's not just getting it at index, it's getting it at rand nums get value at index. And now what I just said earlier actually makes a lot of sense when I said that what we're doing on the right for how we solve the problem with colors and sounds, we're now doing with the actual position as well. So now when I refresh one last time now, if it's yellow, it should be here. If it's red, it should be here, green and blue. And as I've been talking, this has been lighting up and hopefully showing what I just said. But let's go ahead and do it now with me not talking. Beautiful. Nice little electronic beat there as well. All right. So let's just look at this one more time, because you'll see we solved the problem doing the exact same thing that we did when we did this for our first, the Simon 2.0, right? Simon Pixel, get value at random nums, get value at index. Same thing as Simon Colors, get at random nums, get value at index. Same thing as Simon Sounds, get value at random nums, get value at index. Exact same thing, because just to make this really clear, let's do this one more time. Let's actually shuffle this up like it would be, with a real game instead of 0, in order. I think that's a little confusing, because in reality, right, it might be something like this. It might be like 1, 1, 0, 3, 1, 3, 0, right? And this is on the 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is on the 6th level. This is what you would have to type in, right? So index would be 0 because the first time it's looping through, it gets a 1, which means we want everything from the 1th. Make that a different color. There we go. So we want everything from the first, so index is 0. So we're pulling from random nums this value, which means we want everything from the first index of each of these. We're going to do that again for this one. But then when we get to this 0, 1, 2, the second sequence here, now we need to go 0, 1. No, well, it's 0. So we're going to get everything from this one. So then it's yellow. We play a C, and we light up that first pixel position. When we hit a 3 in random nums, we're going to go 0, 1, 2, 3, and play everything from this one. And that's how that's working now. So really nothing different from what we were doing before, except we just added one more array that is just slightly out of order from random nums. But this is how we make those two talk to each other. Whatever that array that is sorted, get value at, let me mute this now, get value at random nums, get value at index. Okay. All we have left to do now is fix our A/B button, the way that the player inputs now. So what we'll do is we will have our inputs, and that's going to be A, but really touch A1, touch A, what are they? 1, 3, 4, and 6. 1, 3, 4, and 6. Now, these have nothing to do with the lights that I chose, other than I think that they're somewhat close to the lights that I chose. But so don't get distracted by these numbers here. They're not really related at all. We have A4 is here. They're totally out of order. A6 is over here. A1 is over here. And A3 is over here. So don't worry too much about what these numbers mean. Okay, so we're going to put ourselves in the mind frame, the mindset, as if we're right? As if the player has inputted correctly what they should be putting in, right? So if random nums gets a 0, which would light up this pixel 1, and would light it up yellow, play a C on the piano, we have to touch A4. And if we do, then we got that right? So in other words, if we do that, we do exactly what we did before. We light up the color at So, but we're not going to light up the color at player position anymore, right? We're going to light up the pixel at score, but not score, right? We need to light up the pixel color at what's our array that has the pixel positions in it. That's Simon pixel. So light it at Simon pixel. Get value at score, because score will be 0 when we first do it, and then so on and so forth every time we press, because score goes up. Simon colors get value at random num score. That's fine. Same thing with here. Change score by 1. Now, what needs to be true if we did that, right? We said we'll put this in here for 4, since we're checking 4. Well, what needs to be true is, did we press A4 represents the first pixel. So if, and then what's our answer? Well, our answer is in random nums. That's random nums for this entire video series. Random nums has held the answer. So we are correct if random nums get value at score. I guess I could have copied this, because this is what this right here. You see it here. You see it here. And actually, this isn't right, because it's going to be random nums get value at score. Simon pixel get value at random nums get value at score. If random nums get value at score is equal to 1. Now that we did that, oh, and then of course we changed the score by 1 because we got that right? Now, each one of these inputs is going to be basically the same. The only difference is A4 will equal 1, A6 will equal 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, A6 will equal 4, A1 will equal 6, and A3 will equal 8. So let's actually put these in order. It'll make much more sense to all of us if we do that. So 4, and then 6, and then 1, and then 3. Much better. And now, since we know that each of these is going to be basically the same, let's make a function. And that function can be called player input. And we know we have to change the number, based on which each one is. So we'll just call this one, not pixel, because I guess it's like the answer, the answer that the player is putting in. So we'll call that answer. Don't know why that was there. Okay. So now we'll take this and put it in there. answer goes in here. And now with A4, the answer was 1. With A6, actually, it's not going to be 1. It represents 1, but remember that we're looking at it from random num's point of view. So random nums actually just has 0, 1, 2, and 3 in it. So let's not get those two arrays confused. Simon Pixel doesn't actually have the answer in it. Simon Pixel, which was 1, 3, 6, and 8, the only thing it's doing is shifting those pixels over so they go all the way around the circuit playground, not just all crammed in that corner. So that was a simple mistake that I was making there that I shouldn't be. Okay. So now, if random nums get value at score is equal to answer, and answer is 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, for each of these touches, these buttons here, we should be able to play this now, except, we can't lose. So, but let's still test it, right? Let me unmute, pause, refresh. So green should be A1. Okay. So we never get kicked back into the game because we never set player ready to 0 at the end of that. So let's do that. Change score by 1, set player ready to 0. And let's refresh that. And I can't play the next level now. That worked, but we can't play the next level now because we don't have the if score. I must have not duplicated, but just deleted it. There we go. We have to put if score is greater than level now so that we can get to the next level. There we go. I had to put that at the end of that so that we actually hit this. If I would have left that at the top, we never would have hit this if score is greater than level. All right. So refreshing. Green, red is this one. Red, blue. All right. So it seems to. Oh, I see. Okay, so we don't want to set player ready until we're actually done with the until we actually beat the level. So that last player ready wasn't even necessary. It was playing the objective sound before we'd even beaten the level. That wasn't good. Should work correctly now. All right, we also need a clear because it's leaving the lights on. It's leaving the lights on every time we do it. So how about every time we get the answer right, we clear as well. Lights, clear. There we go. Let's try that again. Wonderful. Looking good, looking good. I think we're done. The only thing we have, done with everything except we have to be able to lose. So if random nums get value at score is equal to answer, then we got it correct. We played the correct note and sound, and light that Simon had asked us to do. But what if we don't do that, right? So if we do it, then we got it right. Else, that would be us clicking that button, but not the right one. Well, now in reset, right? Because we deleted the winning one, this is only losing. So this is exactly what we need to do. Play the wah 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 sound. Show the red and orange animation to tell them that they lost. set level back to 0, set score back to 0, erase the random nums array, add one number back to it so that we could start the game from 1 again, and clear the entire lights, all the lights, pause a little bit, set player ready back to 0. So just call reset right in here. Let's test that out. We'll win for a little bit. Maybe I'll do like three levels, and then we'll lose. All right. And now we'll lose. Doom, 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 but then back here instead of there. Seems to work perfectly. Let's see if we can't clean this up a little bit. We have some stuff. We have to throw away the AB. We don't need that anymore. All of our functions are over here. So let's put our player input function back over with the rest of the functions. And our inputs can go next to for, or maybe under forever. And now this isn't Simon 3 anymore. This is Simon 1, the original. So we can change the name to Simon. And that is that. We have now, through all of our different videos and different lessons, we have now recreated the original Simon. Of course, like I said, there's still some more things you could do. You know, maybe think about trying to get both of the pixels to light up instead of just one. That would have to be changing up this objective function for the pixel color at, you know, or maybe you would need an array that wasn't 1, 3, 4, 8 anymore. You know, maybe it was something else. Definitely possible. But I will leave that as a challenge for you if you want to do that. If not, enjoy the original Simon game that you made. Play it a little bit, have some fun. As always, I hope this video and all the videos in this series have helped, and I will see you in the next one.